Brian Morley on the other end of our AT&T line right this very second. Fraser Tribilcock, Davis and Dunlap, PC. He is an attorney. He comes from law enforcement. And your thoughts, Mr. Morley, on the governor's idea, and George Carlin's too.
Well, you got me following somebody as impressive as Colonel Etchew and then George Carlin. I'm not sure where that puts me in the grand scheme of things.
Pretty much how we roll around here.
Exactly. I think the governor's idea is well-founded. I wonder how far it can go. It's easy to say, and please, I respect the idea behind it, and I respect that we're thinking about it, and I respect that we're talking about it because we have to. But it's easy to say a lot of these things. This is a life-changing, multi-year project in my mind. To simply say, well, we want to give people jobs so they don't go to prison, or they come out of prison better, that's easy to say, and we've been giving lip service to that for years and years and years. This is a fundamental sea change that's going to require commitment economically and socioeconomically going forward.
Nolan Finley in the Detroit News, who will join us later, says that we should have an inmate-by-inmate review of the prison population, figure out who can be freed without endangering the public, and get them out of there. And he thinks you can incarcerate fewer people for far less time without reducing public safety. In fact, he thinks 20% of the prison beds could be cut. And he says that there are a lot of people who, had a moment of passion or they made a stupid decision, and we shouldn't have to incarcerate them at $35,000 a year per convict.
I don't disagree. We started truth in sentencing a handful of years ago under the thought that you do every minute of your minimum sentence. I think a lot of thought goes into that minimum sentence, but I'm not sure that a stricter review wouldn't help. There may be people who don't belong or don't need to be in long term. At the same time, though, what happens the first time we let the wrong person out? So there's not a bright line answer to that one.
Well, you can go all the way back to the 1988 presidential election with Willie Horton, if you remember, who was on a work release program, if I'm not mistaken, in Massachusetts. And
sure.
But Nolan says he'd rather have smooth roads than starchless old men idling in prison cells. He thinks you could take the money and pay for the roads.
Well, he's probably a lot smarter than that, but that sounds like an overly simplistic. Like I said, it's real easy to say you don't belong in prison, but, and this is going to be a harsh statement, if you're in prison in the first place, it's not for no reason. We get chances through the criminal justice system. By the time a person ends up in prison, it's either a really serious offense or it's not your first go around. And so it's really easy to say, well, let's let some of these people out. There's longer backgrounds in a lot of this, in my opinion.
You and I aren't starchless old men yet, are we?
I don't think so. It's all those years of clean living, I think.
When were they? Preschool? I guess it would be. Brian Morley, Fraser Tribilcock, Davis and Dunlap, PC, right across the street here